Hi, good afternoon, folks. It's May 5th, 2020, Tuesday. The markets are closed right now. And let's start with a recount. We were expecting for the markets to reach 2863 on the ES. There was inversion last night. Initially, if you did short the 1130 CIT, it would have paid off. But here is the inversion bar. Simply put, inversions are also corrections. They're conflicts between the waves, and they lead to a correction or a sideways movement or a corrective pattern. So in this case, we were aware that the daily cycle was pointed uh, higher on the VIX model and through other cycles. And the hourlies were conflicted, as I had mentioned in my Sunday post. So in the end, it did lead to a corrective pattern moving higher. And then I made the mistake of using wrong wicks and closing values. So I actually had 2873 on SPX, but I revised that to 2904 in the chat. So we stopped at 2897.7 and then hung into the final hour. That was also clear that we were going to hang into the close. So what's the expectation visually from here without looking at what any of the models are saying? My visual expectation is that this is actually a corrective wave. Uh, and what we're gonna get here based on cycles, and we'll cover that shortly, is a move lower towards 2813. So we kind of clear out the 2816 unmet target from yesterday. And these unmet targets also provide support and resistance. So I think we get like an A down tomorrow into tomorrow, and then a B up into Thursday, or could be even Wednesday close. So just stay alert for that. And then one more leg down to what could end up becoming the bottom. And like I mentioned in the chat, we should be careful that we don't get caught in an inverted Friday. We were calling a bottom here, but we got an inverted bar at 1032 when I was expecting a sharp rise. That actually, those types of sharp movements actually end up being CITs when the time is already known, as in the case of Friday. So once this bar was broken, just from a time trading point of view, the CIT, I mean, the stop should be the low of this bar. So just remember that for your trading. And then once we went out on sell on Friday, it was clear we were going to get additional downside on the Sunday open. And and then, of course, we called a bottom on Sunday evening up into Tuesday from the daily cycles. So that's what I see from the cycles. And let me just change the view so we can look at a little bit larger time frame on the Earth cycle. If you notice, this is actually the mob line since 2009. So, it has been supporting the market. So we're not headed there, but we're well poised. The shortest Hurst line, I think, is the 45-day cycle is up. The 90 days still moving down, and that's the issue. That's the reason why we've not been able to trend up. In order to trend up, the 45, 90, and 360 all have to be curving upwards like the green one, the 45-day one. And also, just through experience, we need to see a touch of these lines. That did not occur on Sunday. So, there is a touch coming for the 45-day line before things turn upwards. just wanted to share that once again. Down into Sunday, up into Tuesday, pretty much hung into the close. Normally, this pattern calls for AH highs, but I think in today's case, the high is in towards close. And now we should be in the down cycle. If you look at Wednesday and Thursday close, it seems pretty nearby. So maybe Wednesday and Thursday actually goes sideways. And that's kind of what I'm expecting here as well. The range up until Wednesday close is 2803 to 2992.95 and max 2903 from monthly. But now that we know that we're probably executing on a down cycle, the S&P is actually going to move towards the lower end, and we may or may not get a retest on the high end. The monthly cycle, interesting to see. We had 2885. I updated this number in the chat after fixing the VIX value. So obviously this provided a barrier. We were trying to gain an entry back, but it was rejected. That's 2703 is the rising downside, um, and the midpoint is 2803. Okay, so moving on from there, the Nichen model and the Gann pivots. If you look at the profile, the weekly pivot is less than the monthly pivot. So markets are not ready to move higher yet. Okay, this condition has to clear if the markets have to move higher, or we'll keep seeing the chop that we're seeing. Secondly, what we can observe is we tried to gain entry back into the monthly bullish mob at 2915.45. Obviously, we failed at 2898. The weekly monthly barrier pivot is 2879.5. The way you should read that is this is the precise midpoint between these two pivots. So if you're above it, obviously monthly is starting to gain control. Thankfully, we closed underneath this, otherwise I would be concerned. Okay, that's how I read this stuff. So we have a sell on monthly, sell on weekly. So, higher degrees are on sell, lower degrees are on buy. So we may hang a little bit more before we see a whack down. Net net, yeah, so I covered that. And if we go below the weekly pivot, then obviously we're clearing the way to head towards 2803. Um, and here's the stops on the cash equivalent 2880, 93, 2903. You'll have to choose this based on your account risk strategy and account size as well as your personal tolerance, and also depending on the kind of trade you're in, futures, options, stocks. So that's for you to manage. From a cycles perspective, this is what we could see from the hourly cycles. Obviously, we got an inversion here and then a move higher. Uh, and for now, it seems like this, I mean, this should really be a good stop. I think that's the closing high. You can check what that is. So you could use that as a stop as well, because for this decline to work out, we should not exceed this time stop by any means. So, the green line is as it was on Sunday, keeping it that way. We should get a downdraft, then one more move up, and then one more leg down. I had to give an alternate C if we completely melt down towards new lows or the Sunday lows tomorrow itself, then that could be the bottom. So that's just an alternate C. If you wake up near Sunday lows tomorrow, it could potentially be bottom. Always wait till 10:10 a.m. Eastern before you fire off any trades. But my original expectation is that from this high, we will head to, this is 2804. on the ES. So that's 2812 on SPX. And the time limit is 2 p.m. And of course, you have your free will to take the profits off the table at any point. So I've added setup 1 and 2 are what they were on Sunday. Setup 2A, I added that into tomorrow, which is we need to team the shorts at 2812 SPX, 2804 ESM, anytime before Wednesday 2 p.m. EST. And we do have the final setup of the week. Hopefully, we'll have a long, but we're going to be careful, unlike last Friday, about it to fully determine if we're getting a buy signal before we go long. Otherwise, we may have the Sunday Monday risk once again. So we still have time to figure that one out. So for now, this is what the next 24 hours looks like. So that's the update, folks, and good luck.